Testing, testing. Can everybody hear me? Can you guys let me know if you hear me? What's up, Casey? How you doing? How you doing today, Casey? We just talked. Yeah. Who's in the chat? Let me know. Let me say hi to you. What's up, Carl? How's everyone? How's everyone? I'll wait like a few more seconds, and then yeah, it's obvious that what the video is going to be about. It's going to be about the Taiwan earthquake, and if anyone is out there listening, you can still hear me, right? Um, so, what's up, Justin? So if anyone was there yesterday who watched the roundtable, thank you guys for showing up. Um, it was super fun again. It was awesome getting to meet the person who created the gematria calculator that we all use. That was really awesome to be in the same chat as him. Okay. Cool. We have like 16 people. I'll get started. So we're gonna talk about the Taiwan earthquake. It was it happened it was the 3rd in Taiwan, so April 3rd in Taiwan, but it was still the 2nd here. And I'm gonna be connecting this to Revelation, specifically Revelation 8:11, which has to do with nuclear, or it's connected to nuclear because it talks about the falling wormwood star, and the Ukrainian word for wormwood is Chernobyl, like the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. Um, Learned this from 7-1, and um, Revelation 6:12 is about the great earthquake. So there's a lot of elements of both of those in this whole event that happened. So both Revelation 6:12 and 8:11. I'm gonna start with decoding with Cody's initial post about it. Um, yeah, he was the one who really brought. I want to thank him a lot because he brought the nuclear stuff to my attention in the first place. Um, let's just read it. So it was struck by an earthquake on the 94th day of the year. Taiwan equals 94. And he says it's interesting that or they're saying that China is bringing military ships to Taiwan. Is this like foreshadowing of an invasion? Some people are even saying China used a weapon. I haven't seen this to be able to corroborate it, but there is definitely a lot of stories about Taiwan um, or Chinese military around Taiwan. Yeah. Taiwan detects 30 Chinese military aircraft. So this is all happening like while around the time of the earthquake. Um, and the earthquake was a 94-day span after the Japanese earthquake, which was the beginning of the year. Yeah, Casey, good point. The with 4/3, it was the anniversary of Jesus' crucifixion, the one that's recorded, April 3rd, 19 or 1933. I'm so sure. Um, April 3rd, 33. Um, so regarding the all the stuff about war, um, the nuclear element plutonium is the 94th element. So he's starting to make this connection with the 94. Um, earthquake. Wait, I said that one. Oh, okay, I skipped. Okay, so J. Robert Oppenheimer. So one of the most famous people um, that connected to nuclear. He equals 94. He used plutonium to make the nuclear bomb. The president of Taiwan, um, her birthday, August 31st, is the 244th day of the year. Casey May says 3, 4, and are those the gematria values of Kuei Long? That's pretty interesting. Oh, okay, 34 and 19 119, I see. Um, so again, her birthday is the 244th day of the year. Plutonium mass is 244. 244. The plutonium's mass is 244. Um, and the earthquake happened 94 months after she took office, the president. So she took office on this date, and it's the 141st day of the year. Plutonium equals 141. World War III equals 141. So that just is a perfect segue for uh, leading into Revelation 8:11. Um, here's a verse. The name of the star is called Wormwood. Uh, again, I said this. The Ukrainian word for wormwood is Chernobyl, as in the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. This is going to play a role in this. And so here are the things that Cody mentioned. Robert Oppenheimer equals 94, plutonium 141, 811 is the 141st prime number, Taiwan's 94, and like you said, it was 94 days after the earthquake, like all that stuff. I would recommend going back to his page to review that. But this is another thing from her election. This is when the election happened to that led to her taking office to the day she took office. It's 4 months, 0 weeks, and 4 days, and there's 4 and 4 total verses in Revelation. So this, thank you to the illusion. He, um, I mean, he was the first person that I saw this from. So that's just me personally. Um, but yeah, I mean, he found that revelation, and this is the president of. I should show you that. This is her. She's the president, and her name is a perfect match with Revelation 4 ciphers. It's pretty wild. Um, what else is in here? Wow, Lambda, that's awesome. From July 4th, from the founding of the United States to the eclipse's 90,494 days. Wow, that's huge. Thank you for adding that. And Casey Jones says Uranus equals 94. That's all. Oh, wow, that's perfect too. That is also perfect. Um, okay. Wait, we're good? Yeah, we're good. Okay, Revelation 8:11, the ordinal value and the reduction value, this is the whole verse, when you copy paste it into Gematria. It's 1377 and 567. So from when you convert this into the date 1377 to the earthquake, it's exactly 567 months. So uh this little piece of information like really corroborates that nuclear stuff that Cody pointed out right away. Um Again, Revelation 8:11 equals 1377 and 567. We convert that to the date 1377 to the earthquake is 567 months. So that's like hopefully you guys can see how crazy that is. It's like it's actually pretty wild. See what else people saying. Feast of Annunciation 904, Silver 904, Casey May, Uranus, Aquarius removing from Pisces to Aquarius. Good point. Really good point. From 1377 to the earthquake. Oh, so it's the same span, but this is just equivalent um in term but this is just the days. So it's 17,257 days. That's the 1986 time. And that's the year 1986. That's the year when the Chernobyl nuclear disaster happened. So I think that's really interesting. You know what I mean? So when she took office, the it was January or sorry, this is the election. So the election was January 16th, 2016. Um, so to the earthquake, but when you consider it the time when it was here in the United States, it was still the second. It was 8 years and 11 weeks. Exactly, like 8 years, 11 weeks from the election where she became president to the earthquake, 8 years, 11 weeks. That already we got a bunch of 8/11 connections to this earthquake. 8,240 days after 9/11, Plu Pluto demotion on 8/24, yeah. Wow. Wait, so Casey, are you saying the earthquake was 8,240 days after 9/11? That's insane. Um, she again, this is her birthday, August 31st, 1956. So, the 56 prime number is 263, and, Revelation 8:11 leaves 263 verses left in the Bible, and, she was also, like, in her 8 she had just completed 811 months of her life when the earthquake happened, so 2 days after she reached 811 months. Um, there's definitely something to say about that, like, I know it's not perfect, but I think just based on what that's really saying, like, that's again, like, what are the odds of all that 811 stuff and then this right here? Yeah, lambda, yeah, that's a good point, yeah, 9/11 was 8 months, 11 days into the year. Hi, all legs, no torso, first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the nice feedback, that means a lot. Um, so I wanna look at this 831, her birthday, just corroborates more of the 811 connections. The 831st prime number is 6,373, and Revelation 8:11, I really don't use this cipher that much, but, like, I feel like when it's relevant like this, I think that's how you know that it's necessary to add to the overall, um like, it just fits into the picture. So, again, her birthday, 831, 831st prime number, 6,373. Revelation 8:11, it equals 6,373 in reverse satanic. Um, so the 811th prime number is 6,229, and so when you convert this into the date 6229 to the earthquake, it's 5,400 days. And I shared this a few videos back, but 54 equals 120. Well, the main part is that it equals 1377. That's the ordinal value of Revelation 8:11, 1377. 54 equals 1377. So there's a big connection with 54 and Revelation 8:11, and a lot of other ways, which we don't have too much time to get into right now. But yeah, my past videos talk about that. And 54 also equals 126, just like how wormwood equals 126. So that's just really interesting. Um, this is what I've realized is pretty interesting about the number 94 in terms of all this. The 94th prime number is 491, and 94 plus its prime is 585. The study of earthquakes began, they're traced back to 585 BC. I learned this from 7-1 and Casey Jones. Sorry if you guys are getting annoyed me saying that because I said that in every video. But 491 minutes also, or the time of 8:11 on the clock is 491 minutes into the day. Again, 491 is the 94th prime, plutonium, 94, um, and then all the other 94s we talked about earlier. This one's funny. So the the 585th number, pentagonal, I'm not sure how to pronounce it actually, but it's 51,000 or 513,045, 51345. So when you go from the earthquake to converting that into the date in the future, so from the earthquake to 51345 in this year, it's 7711 days. And that's that's the, that's the channel that I've, you know, my work is, like, that's a catalyst for, like, all the work that I do, 7711. I think he just pronounces it as 771, but and he just commented right now, so, the 811 occupies the 33rd position. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Okay, that actually is very relevant towards the end of this, but yeah, again, I just thought this was pretty funny, but it still connects to, like, the overall point of what I'm trying to get at. So 7711 equals 11 times 7 1, so 1171, like, that represents Psalms 1171, which that starts the very middle chapter of the Bible, um, which is the 595th chapter of the Bible. And again, um, it's the whole chapter, so it's all of Psalms 117, but it's only 2 verses. So this is relevant for this decode because, again, this is the verse that starts the very middle chapter of the Bible. 1171 is the prime factorization of 7711, and that is the amount of days from the Taiwan earthquake to the 585th pentagonal number. And I I think about bridge, like, I think about, like, middle symbolism, like, middle, bridge, things like that, um, in terms of, like, earthquakes and stuff just because it might be pointing towards, like, um, something with a bridge, in the near future. I don't wanna I don't wanna say for sure, but, like, that's kinda what um, that's kinda what that makes me think of. So, I see a lot of I just see a lot of 1171s and 595s, and it makes me think of that. 595, I learned this from Casey, is, that is Sirius. Sirius equals 595, and Sirius in on the ecliptic, it's in between the twins of Gemini. Um, I didn't I just but yeah, if you see it, like, on vertically, it lands in the middle of the twins of Gemini, so, um, there's something really big about that 595 and middle symbolism and all that. So from and before we read this, before we move on, Casey says Revelation equals 121. Taiwanese president turned 12,100 days to the World Series earthquake in 1989. That is, oh my god, that's crazy. That is crazy. Oh yeah, that too. Um, yeah, Casey also shared with me before this that um, what you call it, Taipei 101. Um, so this skyscraper, Taipei 101, and has 101 floors. Definitely got to look into this date here. Maybe after this, but yeah. So 101 is he's also taught me that 101 is also a serious code because in the way that I mentioned how um, Sirius is in between the twins of Gemini. So if you look at the 1 and the 1 or, like, the pillars on both sides of the 0, like, 0 would represent Sirius. I believe that's right. I don't wanna butcher that, but I think that's what I've as much as as best as I'm able to portray that. So moving on, 1171, like, again, we got from here, Psalms 1171, the middle chapter of the Bible. To the earthquake, it's 23 years and 77 days, and Revelation 6:12, it equals 2377. When you add so this is the whole verse of Revelation 6:12, which is about the great earthquake. I beheld he had opened the sixth seal. There's a great earthquake. Um, and so like I said, Um, when you add the whole verse as well as Revelation 6:12 in front of that, it equals 2377. So the earthquake was 283 years, 77 days after 1171, which again I got from here, 1171. The prime factorization of 7711, which is the amount of days between the earthquake and the 585th pentagonal, and 585 is when the study of earthquakes began. So hopefully you guys can see that connection. I thought that was pretty mind-boggling. Uh, so it equates. This is the same thing we just looked at. Okay, so again, so this is the earthquake in the time in Taiwan. It was on the third, and it was still the second here. So I think it's both of the days are relevant to this whole thing because especially this should really corroborate that from 1171 to the earthquake is 1,211 weeks. 8:11 p.m. is 1,211 minutes into the day, and that also represents the midway point between the two eclipses, um, the 2017 and the 2024 eclipse are split at 12:11 weeks. So the 8:11 connection here. And keep in mind that there was that eclipse over Argentina at this time, and that's gonna be relevant to the rest of this. So again, the 2377, which is Revelation 6:12, converting this into this date, 2377. Um, from the earthquake to 2377 in the future is 2005, 2,757 weeks exactly, and 2757 it equals 3 times 919, the prime factorization. 3919 is the 543rd prime number. 543, the prime factorization is 3 times 181. And that refers to Revelation 2 because there's 404 verses in Revelation, and the 404th prime number is 2,777. So when you add 404 plus 2,777, it's 3,181, just like the prime factorization of 543, 3 times 181. And again, the 543rd prime is 3919. That's the prime factorization of 2757, exactly 2,757 weeks between the earthquake and this date that represents Revelation 6:12. Um, let me get chat for a little bit. Okay, I think we can keep going. Um, we're good to move on. Can I get like a thumbs up to show that we can move on, or like does anyone want me to go back and review anything before we move on? If there's any questions? Since there's like so much of a lag between my chat and the live. Everyone can still hear me, right? I just want to make sure because everyone still hear me. Okay, cool. Um, so Revelation 6:12 is the 108th verse of Revelation, and it's interesting because it equals 593 in reduction when you include Revelation 6:12 in front of the verse, but the whole verse equals 593 in reduction. So definitely that's intentional there. I mean, it's gotta be 593. And oh, wait, I don't know if I emphasized that yet. So Revelation 6:12 being the 108th verse, the 108th prime number is 593. So the 593rd prime is 4,339. So when you convert that into the date 4339 to the earthquake, um, it's 85 years. Great earthquake equals 85. So this one's it looks like really simple, but like when this one's really like mind-boggling too because this it represents like not only the verse number. It doesn't only come from the verse number in Revelation, like where it stands in Revelation, but it's also the gematria as well. So it's like this connection is just very concise, but it says a lot. Um, from the earthquake oh, sorry, so the 585th prime, remember the study of earthquakes began in 585 BC. Um, the 585th prime is 4,261, and we convert that into the date 4261. Um, so from the earthquake to 4261 is exactly 444 months, exactly, and nuclear equals 444 in Sumerian. There's a lot, there's a lot of stuff. Um, and if you go from I just wanted to add this just 'cause it's, um, kinda relevant, but it just adds on to the 8/11 connections. So if you guys remember Taylor Swift, her concert caused an earthquake, last year on July 23rd, and from her earthquake to the Taiwan earthquake was 8 months, 11 days, 8/11 again. So again, 1377, that is the ordinal value of Revelation 8:11 from, the 1,377th prime number is 11411, 11,411. Um, it's interesting that's a palindrome. So when you convert that into the date 11/4/11 to the Taiwan earthquake, it's exactly 149 months, which is the 35th prime number. The 35th triangular number is 60 or the 35th triangular number is 630. Um, that's really interesting because the 6th prime number is 13, the 30th prime number is 113. Yeah, 13 and 113, the 6th and the 30th primes. So this this next part is like gonna explain why this is so crazy. So again, Revelation 6:12 about the great earthquake, it equals 593, and the study of earthquakes began in 585 BC. So the 612th prime number is 4513. The 593rd prime number is 4339. 585th prime number is 4261. So when you add all of their primes together, it equals 13 13113. 13113. Just like the sixth prime is 13, the 30th prime is 113, which is the 35th triangular number, 35th prime 149. from 11411 to the earthquake is 149 months exactly. 1411411, the 1377th prime number. This is a big this is gonna come up in my next video too. This is, like, wild. Casey, oh my gosh. Casey Casey just told me the Gateway Arch is 630 feet tall. That damn, that hit me because that says a lot. Probably gonna have to whole video about Gateway Arch, and, I feel like the Gateway Arch has a lot to do with the Masonic Arch, and, we'll get into that later, but so 13 13113, that's a prime factorization of 1,469, and when you convert that into the date 1469 to the earthquake, it's exactly 663 months, and the prime factorization of 663 is 3 times 13 times 17, the second, sixth, and seventh prime numbers, like 267, the Golden Gate is at the 267th degree. So, I know it kinda sounds random to bring up the Golden Gate in this Taiwan earthquake, but who knows if it's foreshadowing something, I don't know, but that's an interesting connection to me. It's just exactly 663 months, second, sixth, and seventh primes, Golden Gate at the 267th degree, and this comes from this huge earthquake number, which comes from all this. Hopefully you guys see that. Okay, so, um, I have some stuff to share about Messi, but I'm gonna get into some other information first. Um, so I mentioned how the study of earthquakes began in 585 BC. Um, so this number 132, that's the earthquake number used for China. CE Common Era, 132 Common Era. The prime factorization of 132 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 11, and you can make the date February 23rd, 2011. So from 22311 to the earthquake is 4,789 days. That is the 644th prime number, and that's interesting because, 644 or, kinda it got cut off, but 644, the time of 644 is 404 minutes into the day for the 404 total verses of Revelation. So again, 132, earthquake number, Chinese earthquake number, 2 times 2 times 3 times 11, 2 2 3 11 to the earthquake is the 644th prime amount of days. Um, and what's also interesting, let me see if I go to it. This was, Messi had a 644 campaign. I don't know a lot about it. I just know about he had a 644 campaign that had to do with Budweiser, I guess. 644. I think that's, all we really need to know about that. And, so I'm gonna bring up Messi again. Remember how I mentioned that he or like the connection with the 2 eclipses at the midway point, and there's a eclipse over Argentina at that midway point, and Messi is, like, a god in Argentina, pretty much you could say. Um, and he won the World Cup, his first World Cup on 12/18. 12/18, that is when the sun passes through the Golden Gate, and each year passes through the Golden Gate on 12/18, and Messi's known as Leo, the lion, the sun. So that kind of there's another connection with the Golden Gate. Now looking at this number, this is so when 7-1 brought up the 33, in the beginning, this is perfect, for this part. So the number 1331, um, I'll show you how this connects, but it connects both to Revelation 8:11 and 6:12 because the time of 13:31 PM is 811 minutes into the day, and Revelation 6:12, um, connects to 1331 because that's the ordinal value of the whole verse, Revelation 6:12 with Revelation 6:12 in the beginning of the phrase. So that matters because 1331 um, I actually learned this yesterday in the live stream, and it just tied into everything that I was looking into, so it was just perfect. Um, so 1331 equals 1919 in Latin. So, um, that made me or how do I say this? Basically, like, I looked into Revelation 1919 to see how this would connect to the overall theme, like, I mean, you saw all the connections with, like, Oppenheimer, nuclear war, essentially, so Revelation 1919, I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war, and that sat on the horse and against his army. Um, yeah, I believe there's a connection with Revelation 1919 and 1331. 1331, I didn't really get in depth with it too much here, but it's also like a huge eclipse number. Um, Lambda 115 it does like amazing work on 1331 and its connection to the eclipse. So just check out his channel for that. So Revelation 1919 is the 339th verse of Revelation. The 339th prime number is 2281. So 339 plus its prime, 2281, it equals 2620 and 2620. So this we're gonna carry this over to the next. So from 2620 to the earthquake is 1517 days, and Revelation 8:11 with the phrase in front of it, it equals 1517 in ordinal. So again, 1517 days from 2620 to the earthquake in our time, and 2620 equals 339 plus 2281, and Revelation 19 is the 339 prime number. Lambda, thank you for adding that. 2281 reverse is 1822, and that equals 2 times 911. That's super interesting. Um, okay, so the 244, which we saw Cody's post in the beginning. Plutonium has a massive 244. Um, so she became the president on the 244th day of the year, the Taiwanese president. The 244th prime number Um, the 244th. Oh, hey, what's up, Zen? Um, yeah, yes, Ben, thank you for bringing that up in the chat. I mean, in the live yesterday. So yeah, you helped a lot with that part for me to add it to all this. 244th prime number is 1549 and 8:11 a.m. It leaves 15 hours and 45 minutes into the day. Or I always say that wrong. It leaves 15 hour and 45 minutes left in the day. So 8:11 a.m. for the rest of the day is 15 hours and 49 minutes. So that makes this 244 more connected to 8:11. And, it connects to Revelation as well because the time of 4:04 AM, again, there's 404 total minutes in Revelation. There's 404 total verses in Revelation, and 4:04 on the clock is the 244th minute of the day. Um, oh, what's up, Cody? So yeah, that 244 is very biblical, very biblical. Um, I can just go over this one more time. So 244, the 244th prime number is 1549. 8:11 a.m. leaves 15 hours and 49 minutes left in the day. Um, and the 404 or 4:04 on the clock is the 244th minute of the day, and there's 404 verses in Revelation. So bringing Messi back into this, the day of the eclipse, um, he was exactly 1919 weeks. But the reason why that matters is because of the fact that Messi was born at the exact midway point. Oh, okay, I wrote this wrong. I'm sorry. It's not the opening of the construction. It's well, that doesn't even make sense. Okay, so it was the opening of the World Trade Center, not the start of construction. So from the opening of the World Trade Center to the um, the opening of the World Trade Center to 9/11, Messi was born at the exact midway point. So he's basically representing that midway point between that. So it's 1919 weeks. The earthquake was 1919 weeks from the midway point of the opening of the World Trade Center in 9/11. So that's why that's important, and where Messi plays a role in this. It's also interesting because that is the exact uh, amount of weeks from the Chernobyl nuclear disaster and the Ohio train derailment, which they were calling that the Chernobyl of the Midwest. A bunch of people were calling it that. Um, it was more of like a right wing talking point because people they were mad that Biden wasn't helping out. So they were just calling it the Chernobyl of the Midwest to um, make the left look bad that they weren't being helpful. But um, I'm pretty sure they still weren't being helpful. But it's not something I'm going to get into right now. Anyways, it was 1919 weeks exactly from Chernobyl to the Ohio train derailment. Chernobyl of the Midwest. Casey. So, oh yeah, well, Casey May. Yeah. So 1,331. That was. I did share that. Um, thanks for bringing that up. Um, again, and Casey Jones, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles equals 1919 in Latin. That's wild. It's so wild because like um all that stuff with nuclear and um yeah, perfect. So going back to the relevance of the World Trade Center, from the opening of the World Trade Center, which was April 4th, 1973, to the Taiwan earthquake is exactly 612 months. Revelation 6:12, Great Earthquake. That's why that's why that part with Messi is so, important because, like I said, he was born at the midway point between the opening of the World Trade Center and 9/11, so then this starting point, like, there's you know what I mean? Like, from the opening of the World Trade Center to the Taiwan earthquake, 612 months. So, it's like they're really showing that, um, this whole earthquake is connected to the Bible, like, completely. It's I think there's no doubt about it, you know? So, who knows? Like, who knows if it was made man-made or we really are just God is revealing His code to us, but there's no doubt that this earthquake is connected to the Bible. Teacher M, that means a lot, for real, thank you so much. I wish this wasn't blocking it, but anyways, um, I know it's random that I brought up JFK right here, but, um, you'll see why after this. It has to do with, you'll see why. So, from JFK, from his death to Oppenheimer's death is 3 years and 89 days, and that's the prime factorization of 267. The Golden Gate, again, is at the 267th degree of the ecliptic. Sorry, it's blocking, but, um, the JFK part is relevant to the next thing I'm gonna show you. But yeah, I think that's crazy. 389 representing this 267. I've been all over the 267. If you guys have like seen my past few videos, but something very, very important about the Golden Gate in the 267. So the next part I'm gonna show, I'm gonna hopefully it works because when Messi made his debut for Inter Miami, it was the day that the movie Oppenheimer uh, released. The day that the movie Oppenheimer released, he debuted. Um, and he had a crazy debut because he scored the game-winning goal in the 94th minute of the game. Like what we looked at all that 94 stuff. Um, J. Robert J. Robert Oppenheimer equals 94. And when I shared this back in July. I'm gonna try to share it with you because I put it on my Instagram. So we're gonna see if it works and if you can hear it. But yeah, so I didn't even know at the time that J. Robert Oppenheimer equaled 94. And then I didn't even add the plutonium stuff either in the decode. Like it was just um I think something as soon as I saw that he had scored the game-winning goal in the 94th minute, like I was already familiar with the 94th prime being 491 and 49 when 401 minutes is 811. So I already like saw the 811 connection immediately, but then after seeing like with decoding with Cody, like all that stuff he found with plutonium and 94 and this, and it just like I don't know how to explain it. Just I guess it really corroborated what I found way back in July of last year. So another thing is that the goals that um oh my gosh, I just saw Casey's comment right now. So yeah, you see 1957, 1957, and I do remember. Yeah, so the amount of days that JFK um from his birth to his death, I think that was 16,977 days. I think, and that's the 1957th prime number. So that went over my head. I didn't even think about that, but that is that's huge as well. So the goals that were scored on his debut, it was at the 44th minute and the 94th minute. So someone else scored the 44th minute goal, but then he came and he scored the 94th minute, and then 449 to the Taiwanese earthquake. It was 10 1,957 days, and that's the 1,331st prime. So, again, the reason why the comment that 7-1 made in the beginning about, um, 8-11 and 33. So alright, this is the last slide, yeah. So, I don't know if this has been, like, established, but this is the way I see how this number is so connected with, like, all this stuff with eclipses and all those 3 verses of Revelation, like, the ones are the pillars, and the 33 representing Christ. Like, this is this is representing Christ on the cross, is it not? This is how I see it, 'cause, he was crucified between the 2 thieves, the 2 pillars, and the 33, um, that's also why the towers stood for 33 years before they came down, um, so if anyone, um yeah, if you guys agree with that, let me know. I I I feel like that's important to add. So again, like, Messi, he's, like, known as the Messiah, Messi Messiah, and, he has this really strong connection with the 1331, because again, keep in mind that him being 1919 weeks of this on this, earthquake, um, he this is 1,331 equals 1919 in Latin. So, that's basically what it's like replacing that. Um, okay, that's the end of this 2 ones also make a cross, 1 1 yeah, 1 and 1 do make a cross, that's right. 1919 is the year they proved Einstein's special relativity by observing solar eclipse. Wow, that's awesome too, and then Casey says that 33 years equals 137 Mercury orbits, and that's huge because 137 is the 33rd prime number. That's actually really, really wild the more that you think about that. Wow. Thank you guys for adding those. And let's see if this works. This is my Instagram, so I made a bunch of people got triggered because I just like to, I don't know, I'm kind of mean over there, but I don't really post on Instagram anymore. Okay, can you guys let me know if you can hear this? I'm gonna test it. Ready? You guys let me know if you can hear it, 'cause I can't hear it. I think there's something wrong with my speakers, but no sound. Dang it. Hmm, let me see if I can maybe we could just do this live. Yeah, sorry. Don't get triggered by this. Sorry, like, um, I'm I'm not I would just get like, there's a lot of stuff on my Instagram I would share because, like I said, like, before I was on YouTube, I was, like, doing lots of Instagram like, there's a lot of things on here I wanna share. This one's really crazy, the War of 1812 with Messi. Um, maybe I could go through that real quick. Okay, let me go through this real quick. Messi and the War of 1812. So, connecting it to 612 and the Great Earthquake, 6:12 PM is 18 hours and 12 minutes into the day. The War of 1812, it started on June 16th, 1812, and this is the day that he won the World Cup. So, most of the world would actually write this as the 1812, like, um, the 18th of December, 1812, and it was 210 years and 6 months, and, what's also crazy is that from the start of the war of 1812 to Messi's birth, which again, that is the midway point between the opening of the World Trade Center and the eclipse, is 2,100 months and 6 days. 216, 216. And I learned about this from 7/1, the Pulse nightclub shooting. Um, this was on 6/12/2016, 6/12/16 to the World Cup. It was 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days, which is interesting because, like, the 216 is 6 times 6 times 6, and then in 216 again, and so this 6/12/2016 was double coded because, again, 6/12 the time of 6/12 is 18 hours and 12 minutes into the day, and then the year 216, and it was 6 years, 6 months, 6 days from that, so that's, like, a really crazy puzzle right there. I think that's the last slide for that. Yes, last slide. Um, okay, maybe we could do this live then. So, again, Messi, so this was he scored, um, 94-minute goal, for his debut. This was the day that Oppenheimer came out. Um, yeah, this was the day that Oppenheimer, released in theaters, 94th minute. Um, it's funny, I don't know if it says it, but he because it was like a tournament, and he was in group or Miami was in group J. Miami was in group J, like J. Robert Oppenheimer. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it again, but I know for sure it was group J. And then it's interesting because he played against Cruz Azul, like blue. That makes me think of Chernobyl 'cause, like in Chernobyl, the blue that was like, um, that's what people saw, like, right when before everything, like, um, went crazy, like the blue beam that looks like the blue beams of, um, the Tribune Lights, and again, like, Messi's blue stripes for Argentina look like that, so let me just look that up, not spill. So, yeah, it's just the blue like, the blue stripes, like the beams of 9/11, like the blue Tribune Lights, and it also resembles the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. Um, so what was interesting about that, um, when it was his debut and it was the premiere of Oppenheimer, it was exactly 3,113 weeks from the JFK assassination to Messi's debut and um, the premiere of Oppenheimer, and so what's interesting about this is also it has to do with Pearl Harbor because, the date of Pearl Harbor is 12/7/90 or 1941. So this is Pearl Harbor, and the 31st prime is 127, and the 13th prime is 41. So this is representing Pearl Harbor, like, um, that was, like, another I mean, that's basically what was, like, a catalyst to J. Robert Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project, and then them, like, you know, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those things. Um, so Pearl Harbor was a big aspect in that whole thing. So that's why it was really interesting how, like, from the JFK assassination to the premiere of Oppenheimer, when Messi did all that, like, his 94th minute goal, it was, exactly 3113 weeks, which matches Pearl Harbor. Um, what else was there about that? Alright, so another thing, you guys know that the prime or the 580 the slave earthquakes began in 585 BC. So remember the 585th prime is 4261, 4261. So something I learned, I've, uh, I've s I haven't seen it around as much, but I think there's something to it when you add so I added 4261 plus its mirror equals 585. So when you add the 585th prime number, um, wait, yeah, was it? Let me see. Alright, so when you add, the 585th prime plus its mirror, 5,885, and turn that into the date 5/8/85 to the day that Messi was traded. Oh, here we go, yeah. So when Messi was traded to Miami, like, when they made the announcement, it was June 8th. So it was exactly 457 months, exactly 57 months from the 585, which again, that's 4261 plus its mirror. Um, the 5/8/85 to when Messi was it was announced that he was gonna get traded to or the trade announcement was made on this day, exactly 457 months, so, like, not sure if you some people might know where I'm going with that, but earthquake, it equals 457 in satanic, earthquake. I thought that was really crazy, yeah, I think that was, like, mainly what I wanted to share about how the JFK part was a part of, like so again, like oh, wait, hold on, there's something with the one more thing. There's something about the 1919. I remember oh, duh, okay, going back to that 3113, 6 hold on, Oppenheimer. And so going back to this 3113, so remember how, Revelation 19:19 is the 339th verse of Revelation? Remember that? So, um, the 339 is 3113. See that? 3113, just like 3113. So that's what really caught my attention about that in the first place, 'cause I remember seeing the 3113 and I was like, "Oh shoot, like Revela like 339." And I knew Revelation 19:19 was the 339. So what are the odds of that, you know, like, I remember making this, like, during this time, I made that video on Instagram, and it had that 1919 connection, and then this earthquake, which, happened when he was 19 weeks exactly. Um, that was I think that was really, like, the main point I was trying to get at with showing that video, like, the connection with the 1919 that I made back here with, like, JFK, um, and then how it kind of connected again with all this stuff, and, I think that's pretty much all I have. Let me read some. Yeah, okay, so, um, 457 is the 88th prime, yeah, and the eighth, um, is 1919. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mentioned that in the video. I forgot to say that, but yeah, that's another perfect point. Um, it just corroborates that like completely. Thank you for reminding me that of that, Zen. And Sven says 13 prime plus 31st prime equals the full duration of 1 week in hours. Wow, that's crazy. That's wild. Um, 127 plus 41 equals 168. 1 week is 168 hours. That's the same thing that you just said, right? Yeah, that is the same thing. But still, that's still wild, dude. Thank you guys for sharing this stuff. Um, I think if there's a, yeah, if there's nothing else, I don't want to make this keep dragging this on too long, but um, yeah, if there's nothing else, I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching this, sticking around as long as you did, or um, yeah, and then thanks again, like for all like everyone who helped me put this together directly and indirectly, because Cody, he was like again, he was a catalyst for me to look into all the nuclear stuff with the 94s, and um, that just led me down to all this, and um, everyone else who's been adding stuff in the comments that um, really added onto this as well, um, and again, like all this 811 background knowledge, like all thanks to 7-1, um, and thanks to everybody who came to the chat or the roundtable, Cody's roundtable. Again, it was super fun, and hope to see you guys again in next one, whether you were there, just in the comments, or even if you were, like you showed up, like Sven, like it was cool meeting you, Sven. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't want to keep just dragging this on too long. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. What's coming up? I keep saying that. It's just, yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, have a good day. Peace out.